Greetings and salutations. My name is Colin Moriarty. Welcome to my apartment here in San Francisco, California. You probably know me from my 14 years in the video game industry, where I spent time writing about games and podcasting about them and making videos about them. But recently, I decided to make a change that I think was really important for me as a person, and I hope you'll come along for the journey. The change is a new video series that will live on YouTube and be supported on Patreon, and it's called Colin's Last Stand. Colin's Last Stand wants to explore two things in particular: politics and history, and how both of those things intertwine with each other and how they're both super relevant to us today. I'm always disappointed when I hear that people don't like history or they find it boring. History to me is one of the most fascinating things ever because it's just storytelling. And I really do feel like a lot of people out there simply weren't taught history properly. Likewise, politics can be super overwhelming and even discouraging to a lot of people. There's so much noise and so much lying and dishonesty. I want to cut through all of the bullshit and tell you guys good stories and acknowledge that there are interesting and important things happening in the world, not just the bullshit in Washington, D.C. We'll explore policy and we'll explore really nerdy political things, but we'll also explore culture and entertainment and the way all these things intertwine with politics. And of course, there are super relevant stories from the past that we'll pull in. I want to build a community of curious people, people that want to dig around for knowledge and understanding, that have open minds. The little piece of the internet I want to carve out, whether it's huge or whether it's tiny, it's really up to you, is a place where I just want us to be able to explore knowledge, learning, things that make our minds go, things that make us curious. And it's worth delving in why politics matter, why history is still relevant today, why things that happened hundreds of years ago affect us right now. So you may be curious as to why this Liberty flag, this blue flag with a crescent moon in the corner, is the symbol of Colin's Last Stand. And there's a simple explanation for that. It's called the Moultrie Flag. Some of you out there that are history nerds probably know that. But it's the story of the Moultrie Flag that I think is super relevant to Colin's Last Stand and to our experience together as we explore this new opportunity that we have here on YouTube and on Patreon. Back in 1776, during the American Revolution, American soldiers were under siege on an island off of the coast of South Carolina and staked that flag in the ground. An overwhelming British force was trying to take that land, and they withheld, and they held out, and that was their last stand, and they won. The beauty of the flag is not only that the Americans won in that moment, but that their victory spread and affected the rest of the war. And that's kind of what I want to do with this. I want to start to sow some ideas and some notions and some debates that can then kind of seed their way out into the things we do every day and maybe just carve out a little victory for ourselves as we go forward in our everyday lives. I'm not trying to be too ambitious with Colin's Last Stand. I don't anticipate that this is going to get millions of views and that we're going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of support. But I want to follow my passion. I want to do something that really means something. And I hope that you'll come along for the ride. As far as Patreon is concerned, it's going to be the essential fuel that makes Colin's Last Stand run. I don't want product placement in my videos. I don't want to try to sell you things you don't want or really even don't need. That's why I really need you to go to Patreon and consider supporting this video series. Whether you give me $1 or $10 or $20, whatever you want to give me, it's really going to help sustain this independent video venture. A video venture that's surrounded with knowledge and a thirst for truth, and a thirst for creativity, and a thirst for curiosity. We don't have to be like-minded in the way we think about things, but I do want like-minded people that are simply curious about the world around them. We're not always going to agree with each other. In fact, I would think it would be weird if we did always agree with each other. But we are going to learn together. We're going to explore together. And we're going to take this intellectual journey. And remember, you don't have to support me on Patreon now, in the future, or ever. If you're skeptical and want to see what the first video looks like, which will roll out on April 3rd, I totally respect that. If you want to see how things play out over a course of months, I also respect that. But I hope you'll jump in with me now at the embryonic state and help me fund this dream so that we can put a little learning out there into the world, some new information and some new knowledge. And I hope you'll take a look at all of the tiers on Patreon to see what we can do together. None of the videos will ever be behind a paywall. Nothing's going to go out early. The Patreon tiers are simply a way for us, me and you, to engage more, whether it's on the Patreon boards, sharing stories and sharing videos and sharing documentaries and books that we're enjoying, or if it's me giving you a behind-the-scenes look at what I'm doing. Remember, I don't have experience with everything that I'm doing now. I'm now a one-man army. And I hope you'll be your own one-man army in your own life and in your own world. Take these new ideas and these new notions and kind of proliferate them. Listen, a lot of you guys out there have known me for a really long time. This is a truly scary thing I'm trying to do right now. I'm frightened. I don't know what the future holds for me or for this series. But I hope we can take this journey together. And either way, whether you support me on Patreon or you simply watch the videos and subscribe on YouTube, or you just go your separate way from me, I really want to thank you for these years of support that you've shown me, and I hope that we can have years together moving forward as well. Colin's last stand is a last stand for all of us, a last stand for knowledge and intrigue and interest, a last stand for intellectual honesty, a last stand for freedom of thought and freedom of expression. I hope you'll take this journey with me and that we'll find some enjoyment and some use out of this project together. And please keep that feedback coming as well, whether or not you decide to support me on Patreon. I'm wishing you the very best, and I'll see you on April 3rd for the first episode of Colin's Last Stand.